Yo, Hat Guy, what do you think Sunderland are going to do this season? Well, we missed promotion last season. We missed promotion the season before. Last year we finished 8th. I don't think the team's got that much stronger, so I don't know why people are getting excited about a potential promotion this year. Hat Guy, it's a season for optimism. When you hit pre-season and you come into the regular season, you've got to be optimistic about the year ahead. That's how being a football fan works. I know what you're saying, Connor, but I don't really necessarily agree with that, because why should we all get excited when last year was basically a massive brain fart, and the year before we blew it at Wembley? I don't like you, Hat Guy. You're pointing out too many things that I kind of half agree with, but I think the team is strengthened enough this season where we'll probably finish at least in the top 4. I'm just a guy with a hat. At the end of the day, I'm just here to disagree with what you say, Connor. Okay, Hat Guy, let's start with the video. Hello and welcome to episode 1 of Connor REACTZ, and we are going to start this video and start this series with a Sunderland season preview, because the season starts tomorrow. Unbelievably, we are back to football after what feels like a lifetime. And last time the season was on, I used to work at Sunderland, and now I'm on the other side, so I can be critical and negative, and well, not that I'll be that negative, but I can be. So Sunderland have brought in a few players that'll help grow the squad. I think we've got better depth this season than maybe we had last year, and I think the squad is much stronger. We've also got Phil Parkinson, who will have had more time to get used to the players, get used to the squad. And also there's another factor, the fact that fans aren't there. And the fact that fans aren't there, that could be interesting, because I think one of the things that potentially gives Sunderland its oomph is the fact that it's got so many fans travelling against. But another thing that hinders us is the fact that on a home game, the expectation is that we must win, which is fair because we are Sunderland. But also the expectation away from home is that it's every team's biggest game. Last season I went to Lincoln, and you would think that Sunderland were playing Real Madrid. That was the feeling you got when you went to Cinto Bank. The ground was full, it was energetic, it was electric, and we got hammered, and it wasn't good. It was Jack Ross's last game. But it felt like every away game that we went to was always the biggest game for the opposition. And I think this season, without fans in the ground, I don't know how long that'll be, but judging by this government, we'll not talk too much about politics, so judging by this government though, it looked like it could be quite a while. So that to me suggests that Sunderland might have at least half a season where fans aren't going to be present, and I think that will benefit us in the long term, because the away sides, as I said before, they won't get the buzz, they won't have the big game feel that they normally get for playing Sunderland. It'll just be like playing any other team. Whereas for Sunderland, we are now going to be in a position where we aren't going as the biggest team in the league to all these places, the one that everyone wants to win, the one where we bring the most fans and people treat it as a really big grudge match. So it'll be interesting to see whether or not that benefits us, but I think that is something that will help Phil Parkinson this season. So what are the expectations for the season for Sunderland fans? Now immediately you're going to say, well, Sunderland should be getting promoted, and I would not disagree with that statement. However, I do think that we have to err a little bit of caution, because this is our 3rd season in League One. We don't have, the first year we came down, you figure we had Premier League players, Lee Cattermole, Brian Oviedo, we had Aidan McGeady playing regularly. And this time around, we've got a squad more suited to being a League One team. Now that might benefit us, but it also might not, because we won't have that extra quality. But I do think that if you look at the team now, it's more balanced. It's probably the most balanced of the squad we've had since we've came down to this level. And I think when you look at what Jack Ross built, Jack Ross kind of focused on having one key player. It was everything goes through Josh Madge. If Josh Madge scores, we'll win. And then it was everyone give the ball to Aidan McGeady, because if Aidan McGeady's playing well, we'll win. Whereas under Parkinson, it's more okay, we've got a few different players. Yeah, we've got options off the bench. Danny Graham, Premier League, not great when he was at Sunderland, hands up, yeah, I know that. But he's a striker with experience at this level, a striker with experience at the level above, and a striker with experience at the level above that. So you're talking, yes, he's 35. I know all you agists out there are like, oh, he's 35, too much experience doesn't matter because he's 35, he can't run. That's not necessarily true. Cristiano Ronaldo's 36 and he's playing pretty well. Not that I'm comparing the two, but in terms of age is just a number. Why is it relevant to whether or not he's a good player or not? Our squad depth this season, for me, is stronger than any other seasons. We maybe don't have the quality of player we've had in previous years, but we've got a more level playing field, more level squad, more level ability, around the whole team. There's options on there where I look and I go, okay, we're losing 1-0. Yeah, bring on Danny Graham for 20 minutes. That'll work. And if Danny Graham's starting, you bring on Will Grigg for 20 minutes. You bring on Charlie White for 20 minutes. And the players that have scored at this level. So who are the players to watch this season? Who would I say they're going to have a good season? The first one I'll pick is Elliot M Bolton. And Elliot M Bolton is a player that last year I thought would be our most important player. He started on the opening day against Oxford and he was treated as like the scapegoat for that game. He was taken off despite the fact he played alright. And from that point, he got injured. He never really got going. This season though, I know he got injured in pre-season, which is a crying shame. He needs to sort of lose that injury-prone tag because that's going to be sticking with him for a while if he doesn't string a lot of games together. But if he can stay fit, Elliot M Bolton has the quality of a Chris Maguire. Maybe he can do it more consistently. That's what we need to see this season from Elliot M Bolton. The other player I would look at is Dan Neal. Now, Dan Neal, we've seen a lot of him in pre-season. He's a player that I saw a lot last season when I was covering the under-23s for the club. And he's accomplished on the ball, that's how I'd say. He's quite versatile, kind of plays anywhere within the central area. And I think he'll probably do a job on the left or right-hand side. So Dan Neal could be a good player, and I've seen as well he seems to link up quite well with Will Grigg, and that is something we need because Will Grigg's a player that needs to score goals. If Will Grigg is not scoring goals, Sunderland will not do well because he is the player that has the best goal scoring ability in the squad, maybe apart from Danny Graham, but the difference is that age, being an ageist again. The difference is that age though. Danny Graham, you can't necessarily rely to play 46 games. Will Grigg has done it, will do it, and if you give him the right service, he will score goals. Which leads me on to my final player to watch, which is Will Grigg. So Will Grigg, Dan Neal, they go hand in hand. Because if Will Grigg is playing well and scoring, the likelihood is it's going to be a Dan Neal that's providing them, especially since they've connected so well in pre-season. But also Max Power is a player that Will Grigg's played well with before. Hopefully they can kind of rekindle that partnership because they've sort of struggled to kind of get that going while at Sunderland. The other question is, do we need any more players? Now, it feels like Parkinson wants one more striker. We're linked to that Argentinian guy the other day. Nothing seems to have come from that. So, do Sunderland need any more players? I mean, you can comment below if you think Sunderland need any more players. But personally, I think the squad's pretty strong. I don't envisage anyone leaving. So that means that, do we see anyone coming in? I would say probably not, unless something important comes up. We haven't really brought in many loans. So, there's a chance there that maybe we'll bring in a loan player if one becomes available. Luke Garbett is still knocking around, I think, unless he signed for someone and I forgot. But he could be a player that comes in and be certainly good cover for Denver Hume, and he can play further upfield. So I don't think Phil Parkinson, I think he's in a good position, and a position that normally we're not in come the first day of the season, whereby we don't actually need to add anything to the squad. So who are our competitors this season? I think our competitors are ourselves. It's a mental battle for Sunderland. If we can beat this guy up here, we'll get promoted this year, because the last couple of years, let's be honest, we've lost it up here. It's been nothing to do with what's happening on the pitch. Yes, it has been on the pitch, but it's been this mental battle that's been costing us going forward because we can't seem to cope on the big pressure games. Think about it this way, we would have been in the playoffs had we beaten Gillingham without conceding that 94th minute goal, and had we not got beat off Bristol Rovers, who's our opponents this weekend. So I think Sunderland their competitors are themselves. That's who they need to beat this season, because if they can beat this mental battle up here, we will and should be nigh on getting promoted come the end of the season. So I hope you've enjoyed this season preview. You can catch the podcast on Sunday, so we'll be doing a review of the game against Bristol Rovers. You can also subscribe if you've enjoyed this. I've got a Football Manager series going as well. The idea is to sort of mash these videos with the other videos and kind of create a nice community channel whereby we do loads of fun and interesting stuff. But I hope you like this, and if you did, share it, retweet it, like it, whatever you want. I'd be grateful. Comment below. Let me know if you think I'm full of shit. Let me know if you agree in the comments, and I'll be interacting with you there and seeing if you know, we can have a good debate about whether or not you agree. But to surmise, I think Sunderland this season, it has to be finishing in the top two. You don't want playoffs. We've seen that rodeo before. We don't want playoffs. It's going to be a top two season, and I think that Will Grigg, fingers crossed, Will Grigg will be the answer to our problems. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe.